There was always something strangely missing in the long history of Terminator video games. I mean, for a franchise born in the era of arcades, chunky CRT screens, and quarter-hungry machines, it never truly received a definitive 2D action title that felt like it belonged next to Contra, Metal Slug, or Rolling Thunder. Terminator 2D No Fate finally steps into that empty space, and for the most part, it does so with confidence, clarity, and a surprising amount of care. This is not a modern AAA reinvention trying to chase trends. It's a love letter, one aimed squarely at players who grow up blasting through side-scrolling levels, memorizing enemy patterns, and accepting brutal difficulty as part of the deal. The big question, though, is whether nostalgia alone can carry it, or does Terminator 2D No Fate genuinely stand on its own as a great action game in 2025? I think the first thing that hits you is the presentation. The pixel art is sharp, detailed, and unmistakably inspired by late 80s and early 90s arcade cabinets. Explosions are chunky, enemies disintegrated, satisfying bursts of sparks and metal. Backgrounds tell visual stories of a world on the brink, from cityscapes to scorched future battlefields ruled by Skynet. Crucially, this does not feel like a cheap retro filter slapped onto a modern engine. It feels authentic. Enemy animations are readable. Environmental hazards are clearly telegraphed. Visual clarity always comes before flashy effects, which is exactly how great arcade games were designed. Honestly, I feel if someone told you this was a lost Terminator arcade game rediscovered and polished for modern systems, you would probably believe them. The soundtrack deserves special mention. It reworks iconic Terminator 2 musical themes into pulse-pounding chiptune and synth-heavy tracks that fit the gameplay perfectly. The music never overpowers the action, but it constantly pushes you forward, creating that familiar arcade rhythm where your hands and ears are locked into the same tempo. Where Terminator 2D No Fate really earns its praise is in its variety. At its core, it's a side-scrolling shooter, but it refuses to stay in that lane for too long. One level might play like a straight-up run-and-gun assault, while the next asks you to slow down, use cover, and rely on stealth. Driving sections break up the pacing further, offering high-speed chases that feel ripped straight out of classic arcade racers. Brawling segments strip away firearms entirely, forcing close-quarters combat that feels heavy and deliberate. Light puzzle elements are sprinkled throughout, never complex enough to derail momentum, but smart enough to keep you engaged. This constant shifting keeps the experience fresh. The game rarely allows you to fall into autopilot mode. Just as you start feeling comfortable, it introduces a new wrinkle, a new enemy type, or a new rule. That design philosophy mirrors the best arcade experiences, where mastery comes not from repetition alone, but from adaptability. Retro-inspired games live or die by their controls, and this is where Terminator 2D No Fate truly shines. Movement is precise, dodges trigger instantly, jumps feel weighty but predictable. Every death feels like your fault, not the game's. Power-ups are balanced carefully. You never feel overpowered for long, but you also never feel helpless. Ammo management matters. Positioning matters. Timing matters. The game demands focus, but it rewards skill generously. Difficulty is unapologetically old school. Enemies hit hard. Mistakes are punished quickly. There is no hand-holding here. For players raised on modern checkpoint-heavy design, this can feel harsh. For arcade veterans, it feels honest. Importantly, the difficulty is fair. Enemy patterns are learnable. Damage is consistent. Once you understand the systems, improvement feels natural. I feel one of the smartest decisions the developers made was offering multiple playable characters. Sarah Connor is built around stealth and precision. She thrives on positioning, avoiding direct confrontations and striking when enemies least expect it. Playing as her feels tense and methodical, especially in levels that reward patience over aggression. John Connor leans into gadgets and tactical flexibility. Traps, tools, and clever resource use define his playstyle. He's perfect for players who enjoy planning their approach and adapting on the fly. The T-800 is pure power. Heavy weapons, brute force, and relentless forward momentum define his gameplay. He is slower, but devastating. Playing as the T-800 feels like embodying the unstoppable force that made the character iconic in the first place. These differences are not cosmetic. They meaningfully change how levels play, which directly feeds into the game's replay value. While the main campaign is relatively short, Terminator 2D No Fate is not designed to be a one-and-done experience. Arcade mode challenges you to complete the game with limited lives and no safety net. Boss Rush strips everything down to pure combat mastery. Infinite mode pushes endurance and adaptability to their limits. Training modes allow you to practice specific mechanics and enemy encounters. Secrets are hidden throughout levels. Rankings encourage perfection. Different characters invite different strategies. This game is built around mastery, not completion. For players who enjoy shaving seconds off runs, chasing higher ranks, and learning enemy patterns inside and out, content here will last far longer than the runtime suggests. That said, the criticisms are not unfounded. The campaign's length will disappoint players expecting a sprawling modern experience. There's no deep narrative expansion beyond what fans already know from Terminator 2. This is not a story-first game. It's a gameplay-first one. The difficulty curve can also be intimidating. Players unfamiliar with classic arcade design might find the early hours punishing. While the training modes help, the game makes no attempt to ease newcomers gently into its systems. Finally, if you are looking for cinematic cutscenes, voice acting, or modern AAA spectacle, you will not find it here. The presentation is deliberately restrained, focused on function over flash. Final verdict. Does No Fate live up to the hype? Yes, with caveats. Terminator 2D No Fate succeeds because it knows exactly what it wants to be. It is not chasing trends. It is not trying to reinvent the franchise. It is delivering the Terminator arcade experience that always should have existed. Tight controls, varied gameplay, strong presentation, and deep replayability make it a standout retro-inspired action game. However, it will not appeal to everyone. Players seeking a long, story-driven, modern experience may walk away unsatisfied. Those who embrace its arcade roots will likely fall in love with it. In the end, Terminator 2D No Fate proves that sometimes looking backwards is the best way to move forward. For fans of classic action games in the Terminator universe, this is about as close to Fate Fulfilled as it gets. And that's a wrap up on everything we had to say about this game. What do you guys think? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below.